The reflection this week is based on John 15 verses 1 to 8. And this is where Jesus talks about himself being the vine and his followers being the branches. It's an imagery, of course, that would have been very familiar to people in Israel, and certainly in this Heathcote area is very familiar too. Jesus says that he's like the stem of the vine that's rooted into the ground, and we are the branches that come off that stem. Now, the branch has no life in itself, but gets its nourishment from that stem. And also the branch doesn't have to work at doing that. It just happens naturally. It's attached, and so it gets all the nutrients that it needs. The branch doesn't have to bear fruit on its own accord. It doesn't have to strive and work hard to produce fruit. The fruit will naturally happen if it's attached to the stem of the vine. And perhaps this is the first lesson that we can learn from it. If we remain close to Jesus, we don't have to strive. We will just produce the fruit naturally. And so many Christians strive to do good things because they think that this is earning God's approval, or they're doing it out of fear of disapproval. But we don't have to strive. If we remain close to Jesus, the fruit will just happen naturally. Jesus talks about the Father being the gardener and how the gardener will have to prune some of the branches. Pruning encourages greater growth. If you just let the branch of the vine grow and grow and grow year after year, eventually the fruit will be being borne so far away from the stem that it becomes quite poor in quality and amount. That each branch is cut back, it's pruned, so that the fruit will be borne on a branch that is close to the stem of the vine and will be much better fruit. God has to prune some things in our lives sometimes, things that will stop us from bearing good fruit. It's never pleasant when we feel we're being pruned. Hebrews 12:5-6 says this, "My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he chastens everyone who he accepts as his child." Now, we may find times when we feel that God is distant from us, and we wonder why. Why is he withdrawn? Well, possibly he hasn't. He's probably just encouraging us to try a little bit harder, to actually come to reach him, like you might do when the little child begins to walk. They do a few steps and then you back off a little bit, and that makes them do a few more steps, and in doing so they're growing stronger. Sometimes things happen and we wonder, why did God let this happen? Well, sometimes he lets things happen so that we can learn more about him. And if we go through a tough time and we rely on God, we realise just how much he is there for us and how much we can rely upon him. So we grow in our strength. We all need pruning if we are to produce good fruit. However, there are branches that don't bear any fruit. Now, in the natural, these branches just get cut off and thrown away because they're of no use. And also they can be a danger to the vine. They can bring infection into the vine. And it's a warning to us. If we're simply doing all the outward Christian things, but there's no life inside of us, we're like that dead, fruitless branch. We will wither up. We will die spiritually. Then comes the question of fruit. It's obvious the branch cannot bear fruit unless it's attached to the vine. And as I said earlier, it doesn't have to strive to produce that fruit. The fruit will grow if the branch is nourished by the vine. Now, fruit that should just naturally grow is the character of God. And it's listed in Galatians 5. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If we remain close to Jesus, that should grow in our nature quite naturally. The other fruit we should see is the desire to tell other people about the love of Jesus. And we don't do that out of, we've got to go and earn our stripes with Jesus by going and telling other people. No, it becomes we can't help ourselves. We want them to know the love that we know through Jesus. Verse 4 of the passage says, "Remain in me as I also remain in you." Now, the word used for remain can also be translated as abide. And the picture this word gives is of a relationship It's a daily, constant and close relationship. If you abide with somebody, you're right there with them all the time. In chapter 14, verse 23, Jesus said, "Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. My Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them." So there's that abiding. Jesus says he will come and live within us. So it's not just knowing, it's actually living with the person. And Jesus' promise is he will live within us, but we have to be a willing part of that. We have to allow him to live there and to live with Jesus as every part of our lives. That's the only way that this fruit is really going to grow within us. And Jesus says that this is for his Father's glory, that we bear much fruit, and in doing so, we show that we are true disciples of Jesus. There was a Christian poster around some years ago which said this: "If you were arrested for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you?" It's a tragedy that for many of us in our lives, there probably wouldn't be enough evidence. We want to live just like everybody else, and people may know us for years and years and years without having any idea that we're Christian. But we are to give glory to God by showing the world that we are followers of Jesus. And it should be shown in our love, our joy, our peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And that should simply radiate from us. Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15 says, "We are God's aroma, the fragrance of God to all who are around us." I wonder what sort of fragrance we give off. Is it an unpleasant aroma that puts people off? Or is it a beautiful scent that attracts people? There is only one way to remain fruitful, and that is to live close to Jesus.
You are the vine, we are the branch.